Gerard Butler just keeps on falling, while rich people play a dangerous game of hide and seek. That and more on today's episode of The Real Review, so stay tuned.
Welcome to The Real Review.
Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. Everybody, I'm here with Joel Rufio Cunningham.
I recognize that, Matt.
All right.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, Rufio. What's up?
Rufio. I'm a big fan of that film, Hook.
Yeah, I like Hook as well. It's a big childhood film of mine.
I went back and watched it for undisclosed reasons. Recently, I went back and watched Hook again, and some of the aspects have definitely aged.
Yeah.
Like you watch it now and you're like, this was so much fun when I was a kid, but now that I'm older, this is a little goofy.
Yeah.
But that character is so amazing in a lot of ways. His character really stuck with you, as well as Hook.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman's role and his iteration of Hook in that is just brilliant.
Robin Williams.
And Robin Williams, obviously, is very good.
Obviously, so good.
Yeah,
and
although it is weird. Sorry.
No, go for it.
It is weird when he diverts to his childlike nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's like seeing a grown man pretend to be a little boy.
That's exactly what it was.
I know, but it's weird.
It is weird a little bit.
A little weird, yeah.
Especially like in today's like societal,
yeah,
what's normal or appropriate, yes. Kind of a thing.
Which I'm never one for, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. But anyways, Robin Williams is awesome.
Yes.
Who am I today, Joel?
Today, I'm here with Burt Macklin, FBI. Hey.
Johnny Karate. Burt Macklin,
yeah.
Oh.
I've been going through with my girlfriend and watching all of Parks and Rec.
Oh, it's good.
And so I also watched a movie that has a fair amount of FBI agents in it, so there's the tie-in.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
Way to tie it all together there.
Radio.
Good little segue, kind of. But yeah, anyways. Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is The Real Review, and you got to meet us, and let's break it down a little bit, kind of what this whole show concept looks like and how it works. You ready? Okay, here it goes. All right, Joel is kind of, if you've never, heard us speak before, Joel's maybe a little bit more analytical, critical.
Can be.
Pessimistic, negative.
How dare you say that, man?
Any of those things. It's kind of up to your interpretation. Or if you're like him, then he's spot on.
Yes.
Okay, so I might be a little bit more fan perspective oriented, just kind of there for want to have fun with something, or maybe I see something that hits me emotionally and then I can overlook a lot of other elements that maybe don't truly work out. Doesn't necessarily mean I don't see them. It just means that I'm willing to overlook them for the sake of, the movie affecting me in a positive way.
Yeah.
I like to go and have a lot of fun at most movies I go to, but we blend these ideas together, Joel and I, and we get what I call The Real Review. And if you could see me right now, you'd see that my hands are interlocking as one
it's beautiful
cohesive unit.
There's a beautiful light shining down from the studio as well. It's like kind of highlighting.
Yes.
Making like, the angel.
It was meant to be, Joel.
It was meant to be.
Meant to be. As if an angel has fallen.
As an angel, there you go. Hey, the tie-in. I will say, I don't want to get we've already been sidetracked, but I've been hanging out with another guy, working on a project with him, and he is like your doppelganger. I don't know if that's a good way to put it. He's like your twin for movie reviews.
Oh, for real?
I think you do a really good job. He doesn't like break films down, but he has like the same sensibility when he watches the film. He gets all the way through it and he was like, meh, it was okay.
Yeah.
Like he'll say things he liked and things he didn't like. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was okay. Yeah. Which you do a much better job. I'm not trying to like belittle you.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. But I'm like, I feel like if you guys talked movies, it would be really interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see
I kind of like that.
You both just kind of like have either a lot to talk about or nothing at all.
Do you like it? Yeah, I like it.
Agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Yes. It's fun.
Anyways.
Yeah.
No, that's good to know. We should definitely, maybe we should bring him on the show sometime.
I could totally do that.
Let's do that.
I would feel outnumbered a little bit maybe. Because you guys are going to probably see
let it be heard here. I want this person to be on the show. Anyways, so moving on, Joel, why don't you tell everybody how they can get connected with us?
For sure, Matt. There's some great ways to get connected to the podcast. We have realremedia.com, which is a website, and we've got our content that's going up there. As far as where our episodes are being posted to, that's a great place to get connected. So that way, whatever platform you like to go to, you can find it from there. there. We also have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia, where we're always posting. Matt in particular is posting a lot of good content, trailer reactions, posters, things like that. We just had a big drop of a trailer and a poster and everything for the new Star Wars coming up.
D23 was massive.
It was very massive. Yeah. And you can get connected with us on there. Love to have you follow us. Additionally, we have our Instagram and Twitter, which are both at Real Review Media. We're posting, again, similar content onto those sites. And we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thoughts and perspectives, realreviewmedia@gmail.com.
Definitely.
The way to do so.
Well, thank you for breaking that down for us, Joel.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
We are going to talk about two movies today. One Joel saw that I didn't see, and one I saw that Joel didn't see.
Yes.
And if you've followed us for any length of time, you'll understand why I saw the movie that I saw. And
It's
Joel.
very obvious which movie we went to see and for what reason.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Joel, first movie is Angel Has Fallen.
Yes.
I'll break it down here up front, and
Sure.
then I'll kick it to you to kind of give us what's going on with this movie. Okay.
Sounds good.
So, Angel Has Fallen. First of all, let it be noted that this is the third movie in the Fallen franchise trilogy.
Yes.
Not the Fallen movie with what was it? Denzel Washington.
Yes.
So this is Gerard Butler's from Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen.
Yes.
Okay, this is the third one. Okay, so here's the synopsis. Secret Service agent Mike Banning is framed for the attempted assassination of the president and must evade his own agency and the FBI as he tries to uncover the real threat. Directed by Rick Romanwall. I don't know how to say his last name. Sorry about that, Rick. Starring Gerard Butler, Frederick Schmidt, Danny Houston, Rocky Williams, Piper Perabo, Morgan Freeman, and I think Nick Nolte's in here somewhere, and a number of other people. But Joel, going into this, first of all, have you seen the first two, and did you like the first two?
No.
Okay.
And no. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, that's a very fair way of putting it. I didn't see the first two, mainly because...
You didn't see the first two?
No, I did not.
What?
Yeah,
Let's just go see Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and not see the first two, guys.
I don't know if we could compare the loftiness of those between these. I don't feel like I will say... I missed out on a lot from not having seen the previous two iterations. And and the reason I said no to the other one is that I like the other two, the previous two, was because without having seen them, I would say that I didn't like just the idea sort of behind the other two. And I will also as well say, I know that's not fair of me.
It's like, hey guys, it's Back to the Future 3 is really confusing.
Right. Again, the loftiness.
There's two from, I didn't see the first two.
The heights that these are pushing to, I think these are much lower as far as world building and characterizations and story development.
Yeah.
But I might at some point go back and watch the first two, and I'm gonna say this on the upfront. I actually end up liking this a lot more than I expected.
Okay, let me just say this.
Yes.
I really liked Olympus Has Fallen.
Okay.
The first one.
Okay.
The first Olympus Has Fallen was kind of meh for me.
Yeah.
Very subpar in my opinion compared. The thing about this franchise and that I've noticed in the first two is that they are kind of unabashedly like, hey, we're making a 90s action movie. That's kind of like what we're going. It's got some modern sensibilities in the filming of it and stuff like that and technology and all that. But Olympus Has Fallen was very much like Die Hard at the White House kind of a thing. And that it was fun. And Gerard Butler is kind of awesome as that person. So I'm glad that you like this one more than you thought you would.
Yeah. It's interesting you'd put it in that context. That's kind of the same context I was getting from this one. It's very much a character-driven action film.
Yeah.
In the sense that you've got this one main character who's kind of all the action is surrounding them and they're driving the movie forward, and all the situations and everything have to do with what decisions they're going to make and how they're going to act. As far as falling within the trilogy of films now, there wasn't really anything set up in this one that I felt like I missed out too much from the prior ones. There's a bit of like and I'll just kind of minorly spoil it. It's not even really a spoiler, but there's like a drug addiction, like a painkiller addiction angle that they were going with the character, Gerard Butler's character in this one, that I think was probably set up because of the actions and stuff that happened. Maybe that was in the first two films or something or whatever.
Dude has been through a lot. It's like Kiefer Sutherland in 24. Like, how many bad days to this like level can you literally go through?
And that's where they start it But I think that's such an open-ended character trait.
Yeah.
There's so many movies that you see where it's like the guy's like 1 week from retiring and then this huge thing blows up, or, you know, he needs to make a transition in his life because of all the stuff that's happened in his past. And so it wasn't treated as like you have to know all the pre-existing stuff. Now, there was a couple character relationship aspects and angles that probably were developed in other films that would have been helpful.
So like the previous films probably weren't, it sounds like they made it to where the previous films weren't necessary, but this film would have been enriched a little bit more if you were familiar with some of the character relationships.
That's the best way to handle this type of an action film. If it was a straight up drama, then it's really hard to get away with that.
Yeah.
But since it's primarily just a vehicle for these big action set pieces and things, you really don't need too much of those tie-ins to be there. Not as I mean, there was less tie-in than say like the Jason Bourne series. Those films you really kind of did need to. It was almost in a way Bond-esque, where there were in the newer iterations there's been tie-ins, but kind of you can still just enjoy the action and the set pieces for what they are.
That's awesome.
I think one of the things that I had going into this, a big trepidation that I had, would just be the overall silliness, and dumbness of the plot and the characterization. Like, how do you treat a concept like this now? Because I knew it was a trilogy where the president, I believe, has been attempted to be assassinated this many times, and you don't just pretty much just always leave the president in a bunker. You know what I mean? I feel like that's, after 2 attempts of this magnitude on trying to kill the president, you just leave him in a bunker and you say, sorry, the next few years you're just going to be here. But it didn't float towards too much, I think, to the silly and the ridiculous. I think all of the action, although was ridiculous in just its scope, felt grounded. It felt like, okay, well, it's not too far-fetched. It's like maybe one step beyond where you think this could be realistic.
It's not Die Hard 4.
Yeah, it's more of just kind of the scope of it. It's not what happens is unrealistic in those individual action set pieces, but it's more of just like, well, could someone realistically launch 50 drones in the air and try and take out the president? That's far removed. But if that were to happen, that seems, the way that it played out seems realistic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So, if you can get past the whole idea of what's actually happening being crazy, then you can just enjoy the plot for what it is. And those are the best, in a way, those are the best kind of films for me to just zone out.
Was it kind of fun, though? Did you have fun with it?
Yeah, I think that's what I really ended up liking about the film. There was pretty much action throughout. But it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like, okay, well, we just need to have another action thing happen now. The film is very tight in that it takes place within a short run of time. I would say probably within the scope of the film, maybe 3 or 4 days at most. So they're able to really quickly get to the major moments of things taking place and happening. And there is a little bit of a heart to it. There's an emotional relationship in this film between Gerard Butler and Nick Nolte, who plays, surprise, surprise, his father. There's also a bit of a heart with Morgan Freeman's character, who's obviously been through so much with Gerard Butler and the relationship that they have there. And then also with Gerard Butler and his wife, Piper, and their child. And it didn't feel forced. So I really enjoyed it for that angle. I really felt it. I think where it went off the rails for me was really the story. It's not that the story was bad. It just felt very obvious. It felt like, okay, this is the bad guy. This is the thing that they're going to do now. This is the next thing that's going to lead to the next thing. And there wasn't anything that really shocked me. Even at the very end of the film, when they're doing their big final gun battle fight at the end, there was a twist that happens sort of. And I was like, okay, well, obviously at a certain point, I knew what was going to happen there. It was just, they set it up. They flagged it too strongly for it to not happen there.
I gotcha.
So because of the predictability being there, it ends up removing some of the suspense. Because you're like, okay, well, I know that Gerard Butler's not going to die right now. Like, they're not going to kill him. But, they did injure him. They did bang him up. They did, he got hit and shot and hurt. So it's like, okay, well, he can take damage.
It sounds kind of on par with the first 2 films.
I mean, if you think of Die Hard, like, that's such an amazing thrill ride. But they're not going to like kill him. But there's such an intensity to it, and there's such a way that they're framing it that you almost feel like, well, maybe they could incapacitate him or stop him. And that was in a measure here in this film, that they created that intensity. And really that's created by setting up scenarios and situations where you're like, how could he accomplish escaping from this? Some of that then got a little bit silly and over the top. I mean, there was like scenes of like literally like a mountainside basically being exploded
Right.
and all this other stuff. But it was fun. And
That's
I was
cool.
able to just sit back. Yeah. I think if they had done a bit more of going in a slightly different direction with the plot, and trying to create a bit more depth and nuance to the story. Yeah. And I don't want to say how because it's on my place, but
Sure.
if they had created a bit more of a deep story to it, then I think it would have done like the new iterations of the James Bond films, especially like Casino Royale, or Skyfall.
Yeah.
They did such a good job of creating deepness to the story because of the characters and because of the history and the world that they're in. This film didn't really do that.
Gotcha.
It was really just like kind of one level down.
Surface level.
Surface level.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
that's a good way of putting it.
That's cool.
But the action was great. I didn't know this, but the director for this is a huge stunt coordinator.
Oh, okay.
And that showed, like, he's done stunt coordinator for like 20 films or something like
Yeah.
that. And that really showed every single, I was like, whoa, that's a really cool set. It's some of the best stunt action I've seen in a very long time, especially with a lot of the explosions. Like you're seeing like people get flung across, and I haven't seen that kind of action in a while.
Yeah.
The other thing is a bit of a negative. The special effects on this film felt fake.
Okay.
Fairly large amount of the time.
Like
I'd say,
CG.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
could tell certain scenes were green screened. You could tell that certain people didn't fit in with the environment. That they were, like a couple key ones that you're just like, really? What? I can like basically
gosh.
see the greenish hue around
I give
that person.
I give that a pass on television shows, but
Yeah.
on movies, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, it felt like it felt really what it felt like to me is that they did like the 99% of the special effecting, and then somebody need to go through and just do a final pass of like adding that final gloss,
Like another layer. Or
just
something.
one little layer, like lighting or something like that, and it just got missed, or somebody missed a layer on a render out.
Yeah.
It wasn't so far removed that it was like ridiculous, but it definitely took me out of the film
Sure.
at times
gotcha.
because you're watching certain things happen. You're like, okay. So overall, I liked the antagonist. I liked the action. I think it was a great mindless kind of romp.
Cool.
into
You
this
like the
action.
antagonist normally?
did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's usually a big thing for these types of films. Like you don't have just a cookie cutter, just generic dude.
That's the sad thing. He was kind of cookie cutter though.
Okay.
You kind of like.
But did the guy like finesse it? Like, was it like
Yeah.
Okay.
He was relatable.
Okay.
Even though he was cookie cutter, you kind of got where he was coming from, and he felt antagonistic. He felt dangerous.
Yeah. Okay.
And so because of that, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
like here's this menacing idiot thing that keeps making mistakes.
If he makes you feel like it's like tangible danger, then that's great.
Yeah, it felt like this bad guy was making realistic decisions. Now there was, I'm going to wrap up here real quick so you can talk, but
go for it.
there was one final sort of decision that was made. I'm not going to spoil it, but big part of this film is, they're trying to kill the president, obviously. They waited on one decision, the bad guys, the antagonists, waited to make one decision that could have probably moved their plan along much quicker and would have made that happen much quicker. And because of circumstances, it kind of felt like they decided to wait till the very end of the film, where they're like, well, we have to have this big epic showdown. So we're just not going to do this thing that would help us succeed right now. Yeah. It's kind of like that we're going to lower the president into a slowly dipping contraption that will only give him 10 minutes to escape instead of just like throwing him in.
Right.
They could have just thrown him in, but instead they're like, we're going to wait till the very end of the film to slowly dip him in.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I liked it better than some of the action films I've seen as of this year.
Cool.
And I'm going to give this one an 81.
81.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's weird to say that.
That is weird.
Especially with the critical review that
when
it's
you
getting
told
right
me
now.
that you saw this movie and we didn't really talk about it, I did not think you would be this high. I thought you were going to give it like
I did think so.
low 70s or low 70s at best. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be like high 60s.
It's
But-
weird.
Wow.
I wrote it down and
You
I
said
was like,
fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel just said this movie was fun.
I did say it was fun. It was fun.
That's like taking a page right out of my playbook.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
I enjoyed it for what it was. How
Good
look
for
at that,
you.
Matt. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So yes, and I will say, and I went to see this because there was another movie that was out
There was
that I had the opportunity to see that I didn't want to.
Right.
Yes.
Because there was some trepidation.
Trepidation.
Yes.
And secondly, I'm saving it up for It Chapter 2.
Yeah, that's right. You kind
yeah.
of, I feel like you're forced to see It Chapter 2.
I saw It Chapter 1.
You know,
so.
It Chapter 1 It Chapter 2 is like 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And
it doesn't make me happy. Just make it 10 minutes. Just throw all the jump scares at me in 10 minutes.
Oh my
I'll
gosh,
be fine.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the movie I got a chance to see and I'm going to talk about here is Ready or Not.
Nice.
Okay. So let me break it down real quick. Ready or Not, synopsis. A bride's wedding night takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying game. Directed by Matt Bertinelli Open and Tyler Gillett, one of those, and stars a number of people. You have Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, Henry Cinzi, Andy McDowell, Melanie Scrofano, a lot of other people. But I remember seeing the trailer for this movie, as I know you've seen the trailer for this movie.
Yep.
And it kind of had this like weird, like quirky, like almost like it was like horror comedy.
Yeah.
And but like they played it off that way in the trailers. I remember being like, wow, this is weird. Okay, great. And then, but you don't know why things are happening. You don't know why they're playing this game of hide and seek. Like, what is the deal with this family? What's the deal with this tradition? And what's going on here?
They let a little of that sneak out, I think, in the second trailer.
I don't
why.
I don't know, but I don't recall if there was a second trailer with that or not. But I will say, the more I think about this movie, the more I really like this movie.
Cool.
Okay.
Nice.
Let me preface that by saying this is 100% not for children, 100% extremely violent, a lot of language, and but as far as me and liking horror films, this was great because it was funny as well. It took me a while to get into like some of the characters, especially the main character, Samara's character. And what was her character's name? It was Grace. So she, so it took me a while to get into her character because she was kind of right off the bat like this foul mouth kind of like bride, like, you know, joining the super rich family. And then you learn a little bit about the history. First of all, there's a cold open to this movie that you're like, ooh, you know, and then it progresses from there, and it's 100% okay. So I went with my dad, and we're sitting there. And you could tell that the movie was good because both of us were kind of like hands clenched, kind of like a lot of the movie. Like it was tense.
Yeah.
And those are the types of movies. I would say it's more thriller than horror.
Yeah.
Because it's got that clue sensibility where it's like mysterious. It's thrillery, but it's not like, you know, like a big evil bad like walking around. It's just a bunch of nonsensical insanity. And this movie is crazy, but probably in like the best way. And they do this twist thing at the end. Let me just tell you that when it happened, my mouth was open and I was like, whoa. like it just got, it got real dark, but it was really, really well done. The humor was pretty good. It didn't land all of the time, but I think where the humor is strength in this is that it kind of offsets the thriller, maybe some of the heavier stuff, but it doesn't do it to where it diminishes any of the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
It just does it in a way that I feel like is a really, really good balance. And this movie was actually really fun. And actually, I think going back, it would be really fun to see some of the stuff again, just kind of like how they put some of the things together and what they decide to do and how the characters interact with each other and how that plays out. There's some weird character like choices I didn't necessarily like or agree with. I was like, why would that person do that? It doesn't make any sense. And then a couple of like horrific ones, I was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, but I guess that makes sense, you know? And I think there's just a level of like some twists and turns and some things that were unexpected that happened that were really, really well executed and made it enjoyable, like just an enjoyable movie. The end gets real heavy, guys, but I think it makes for an overall complete, like, good movie. Awesome. I guess it's divisive. I was looking up, some people are kind of like, I didn't like the ending. I'm like, well, I thought it was great, actually, because it made this whole movie, it paints the whole movie in a different light, kind of a thing. Yeah. Kind of like a Cabin in the Woods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That was very shocking.
Yeah. So not to that extent, but think along the same lines of just kind of like, wow, this makes you think about the movie in an entirely different way.
Yeah.
So anyways, really, really enjoyed it. And the more I think about it, the more I ponder it, I want to see it again. The more I'm thinking like, hey, you know what? I really, really like this movie.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts just going into from seeing the trailers or anything like that?
I'm left curious.
Yeah.
I think that's
it's not, I guarantee it's not going to be anything scary like it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like scary.
Yeah. I can deal with gore a lot of the times. It's not that bad to me. The only time I don't enjoy it is when, what was that?
Like when people revel in it?
Yeah. It's like when somebody's just like enjoying the fact that somebody's suffering, and that's horrific to me in a way that's just kind of like, that's a bad side of human nature. I don't really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So, but I do enjoy a good like, oh, whoa kind of moment sometimes.
Yeah. There's a lot of those moments in this movie.
Yeah.
But
and I like horror comedies for whatever reason. I enjoy good humor comedy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some things that detracted. I think I started feeling uneasy towards the end before the twist happened. It's like, I don't know if I like what's happening here, but it made sense. Some of the character choices were a little odd. I don't think they meshed well in the film, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it an 89.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to try and maybe check it out. I don't know. If it's not
I
scary.
think you could handle it. It's not really scary.
It's not of a jump scare nature.
It's kind of thrillery.
Yeah.
I mean, I think,
Okay.
I think you could do it.
I think I can make it.
I think you can make it through it.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll subject somebody else to watch it with me, maybe.
Do it. Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Make it happen. Anyways, so yeah, that is Ready or Not, and you got everybody got a chance to listen to you talk about Angel Has Fallen.
Mm-hmm.
What are the big releases this week? We're waiting 2 weeks still, or another week and a half or so for It Chapter 2 to come out. Was there anything? Do we know anything massive coming out this week? I don't think
there's.
I feel like it's
huge.
a quiet before the storm is what's happening.
Yeah, I
so
think
like
so too.
there's it's like calm, and then all of a sudden it's going to be It Chapter 2.
I'm looking, and it's movies opening this week. It's not that interesting.
Yeah.
There's a couple ones that I wanted to go check out, maybe that have been in theaters for a while.
We should go see the Peanut Butter Falcon.
That's actually one of them that I wanted to go check out. I've heard that's really good.
I heard it's great.
Yeah.
I'm a big Shia fan.
Shia LaBeouf is doing pretty good things.
Ever since Fury, I've been a huge Shia fan.
Yeah.
Anyways, so thanks for listening, guys. Couple of quick ways. You can get connected with us. You can reach us at realreviewmedia.com. All of our social media handles are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Real Review Media. You can email us at realreviewmedia@gmail.com, and also youtube.com/therealreview. A lot of different ways you can get connected with us. Email us what you thought of these movies, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, any of those fun things, and let us know what's up. Joel, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think I'm great, Matt. But
all right.
Yeah, it's been an interesting run so far this year with films.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see what's going to happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's been real.
It's been real.